25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
That's what happens when you believe in each other. That's what happens when you believe in yourself.
Well, the city of Miami, no stranger to elite nightlife, and the biggest party in town Saturday night was on the FIU football sideline, where the drink of preference was Gatorade, not on the rocks, but on the coach, a dousing that started the party in Little Havana that eventually made its way back across the street from Sweetwater. A little bit of bowling putting the final touches on this one. This just not a victory over the Canes. It's a win that ensures we're going to a bowl for the third straight year. Never done before here at FIU. We're bowling. Butch was just on the Levitard show. We beat Miami. 100 recruits were at the game. We've got a pep rally in a few minutes. Life is good in the 305 for the FIU fan, where we welcome you in to the Graham Center for Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis. A little bit larger crowd than usual here to celebrate the festivities here in the GC pit, about half an hour away from a nice little pep rally as well. Coach, congratulations on the victory. Certainly one of the most notable wins for the program, one of the more notable wins in your illustrious career, and I know you really savored and had a great time this past Saturday night.
Well, thank you, AJ. It was absolutely a special night, and it's special for the football program, the kids, and the people that helped make that happen. Saturday night was awesome. I mean, the band, Barry Bernhardt, the band director, the cheerleaders, the dazzlers, they were spectacular. The fans in the stands, they were doing as much as they could to create a home field advantage. And the players, you know, AJ, I mean, I couldn't be prouder of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they spilt their guts. And I kind of told people 2 weeks before the game started, I said, we're going to find out a little bit about our character and who we really are after having a tough loss on the road to FAU.
Yeah.
And we came back to practice during that open date. And that Tuesday practice, I told our coaches when it was over with, it was probably the best practice that we've had the entire season, all the way back to August. Kids were focused. Kids were competing. They pushed themselves. And I said, you know what? These kids are going to spill their guts in that game against Miami. So obviously it's a great win, and hopefully it'll help continue to grow this program.
And it says something about this team that after probably one of the toughest losses of the season, you know, up in Boca Raton, took it on the chin to have that good practice, and then less than 2 weeks later, chance of FIU ringing out in Marlins Park. What a surreal scene that was, and then going over to where the right field stands were, and family members in attendance. Certainly, James Morgan's mom flew down from Wisconsin to see the game. What a surreal scene it was.
And you know what, AJ, the other thing that was kind of a little bit like today, when we got off the buses back at the stadium after leaving, Marlins Park, there was probably 400 or 500 students and parents and friends waiting in the parking lot and at the football facility, and our players, I mean, they were unbelievably gracious for all the people that were there to kind of help support them, and so it was really good,
We'll have to get our producer to turn the camera around at some point in this show. It's a phenomenal crowd here. Coach, let's go through the highlights a little bit. We're going to go rapid fire. We'll go a little bit more in depth after the first commercial break. But let's take a look at how the victory came to be. And setting the tone defensively, Stanley Thomas Oliver. Can you imagine how low he was 2 years ago and he wasn't playing, and now he's making plays like this?
I'm going to tell you what. I mean, obviously, he and Ike Brown, in my opinion, are two of the best pair cornerbacks in all of college football. And Stanley made a great break on it, drove the ball down, and Jose Borgales had a phenomenal night. He was 3 for 3 on field goals, 2 of them over 50 yards.
And now Tony Gator for 20 yards on third down. And that's something I want to spot. The Tony Gator and the third downs.
And the thing, AJ, that you love about a lot of those is look at the run after catch and after contact.
Thornton here.
Here's an 8-yard pass that turns into a big 15, 16-yard run. Our receivers did a phenomenal job that night of extending the plays with run after catches.
Now 3rd and 10. Watch Thornton on the top side. Tunnel screen against the blitz. The perfect play.
Oh, it's absolutely the perfect play. Rich Krosky, the offensive coordinator, did a great job. And the offensive lineman getting downfield, getting in those skilled athletes' way, and allowing Shamar Thornton to break inside and then score the touchdown.
We made goal line stands against Old Dominion, but it's something a little bit different now. Daniel Jackson forcing the 4th down, and they go for it. And Sage Lewis, he's healthy, and he's making defensive stands.
This is the healthiest he's been all season long, and what a great job. The guys at the point of attack did a great job, and Sage scraped off the edge, hit them, and did not let them run into the end zone, knocked them back. Goal line stands, those are the kinds of plays that you need to have to try to win these kind of games.
We ended up punting on this possession, but a 23-yard run on 3rd and 19 kept chewing up time off the clock.
Oh, no doubt. And not only that, obviously, the punter, Tommy Heatherly, did a great job of getting the field position outside of having to punt in the back of the end zone. I mean, those were types of plays that helped us win.
Another 4th down stop on 4th and 1. Here's the first of the 50-plus from Jose. Hip, hip, Jose through the uprights, 50 yards.
How about that? A line drive, and he had a lot of confidence. Watching him kick in pregame, he was making kicks between 50 and 55 yards, and obviously, he made that one, and that was huge.
First play of the second half, Sage Lewis gets his 3rd pick of the season, and really causing Jaron Williams to go through a lot of adversity Saturday.
And one of the things, AJ, is that our secondary and our linebackers, we had 9 pass breakups. That one, obviously, the breakup turned into an interception by Sage, and it was really, truly special.
Limited Jaron to 5 completions for 78 yards in the first half, and then Jamal Gates with his 2nd career pick. As good a game the defense has played all year.
Yeah, the underneath linebackers did a phenomenal job of not getting sucked in on the RPOs and making sure that in their drops they were getting in the throwing lanes and making sure if they threw the ball, we had a chance to either knock it down or intercept it.
And getting the points off the turnovers, 53 from the left hash, not a problem.
Boy, how about that? I mean, I think he could have made that from almost 60. I mean, he was kicking the ball so well, and he had so much confidence. The snapper, Tommy Zoza, and Alec Hallman, the holder, they did a great job.
So Miami did not score until 1:52 remaining in the 3rd quarter. You said he'll take that all day. Here we got a shout out for Tommy Heatherly, not letting KJ Osborne get anything in the returns.
A year ago, obviously, a lot of the things that flipped the field position was kickoff returns and punt returns, and we really wanted to try to minimize that. Tommy had 3 punts, so the hang time was over 50. Here you can see us doing a great job stopping the run, getting some pressure on the quarterback.
Anthony Jones had a quarter to remember in the 4th, in closing time, in winning time. Here a 14-yard run. Jones with 112 yards on 16 carries. Here Tony Gator for 12 yards. He had a wonderful game. This 12-yard touchdown, one of the greatest plays of the season.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, he did a great job because he faked a crack and then he ran a corner route. James did a good job. The pressure, our offensive line and our backs on blitz pickup, no sacks for the night.
Now Miami kept chipping away. This was to make it 23-10. Hope is alive, but that is before Anthony Jones with the run of his life. Here's the next touchdown, Mark Pope. This was to make it 23-17. So it was a 1-possession game. Biggest drive of the season. Here's how it sounded on the radio. to him. The gift to him.
Uh-oh.
He
That's
has a
it.
crease. Anthony on his way to the end zone. 10, 5, touchdown! Let's go! Let's go!
Yeah! Woo!
7
Let's go!
yards.
That's it, baby! Yes, sir!
In the back of the end zone that he did for the touchdown. But what a great young man and unbelievable, a motivator for our entire football program, AJ. And obviously, everybody's familiar with the situation that he went through last year. To see him come back and have a great season this year, you can't imagine a better thing.
From the ER to the end zone, and we've chronicled it a lot here. One of the best stories in college football. Here's Coach after the game at Marlins Park.
Tonight was evidence of the fact of what you believe when you don't give in and you believe in each other. After the last game that we played, there would have been opportunities for us to doubt ourselves, doubt that we could win this game. And when we came back to practice last week during the open date, we had as good a practices as we've had probably all year long. And I've made this statement multiple times that teams don't really ever become very good until the leaders and the seniors and the upperclassmen take ownership of the program. When they decide what's going to be the standard of effort, performance, when they do that, then you have a chance to really build a football program. And those kids, they did exactly what I would have ever dreamed and wanted them to do for the last 2 weeks.
Coach, when you got here in 2017, I remember a lot of the storylines. You had seniors that bought in immediately.
Oh, boy.
And now you fast forward 2 years, seniors, some have been here since 2014 like Napoleon, some have come in like James, but there's been that buy-in too, and you've talked about the ownership that they've had to take in a year. Yes, there's been a little bit of adversity, but to put that aside and have a victory like they did this week, it's pretty special stuff.
AJ, two statements out of that comment that I made after the game. When the seniors and the program takes the ownership of how good you want to truly be, that's critically important, and the buy-in. And I give the 2017 seniors and those kids from the very first team meeting that we had when I took the job, all they've ever done is say, Coach, you tell us what we need to do. We want to win. We want to go to bowl games. We want to compete, and we want to beat good teams. Yeah. And every year it's growing and growing and gotten better and better. And this year, seniors, you couldn't have asked them to do a better job, because we don't make a big deal out of it, but we face some adversity. We've had off-the-field things where kids in their lives that have had somebody critically important in their life has passed away. We've had injuries. We've had more injuries this year than any football team that I've ever coached. And for kids to come back and say, you know what, Coach, I'm fighting. I'm going to play. They're not taking me out of this game. I don't care how much I hurt. I'm going to be out there to help my teammates win.
I'll tell you what, one of the biggest victories in the history of the program, and I'll tell you what, pretty exciting stuff. FIU is going bowling for the third consecutive year. Excitement palpable around the program. We'll be right back after this on Panther Talk Live.
This is the CUSA way. Watch us be competitive, unique, strong, and athletic. We're driven. We're passionate. We're champions. This is the CUSA way.
We're a university founded on the site of an airport, reaching new heights. It's in our DNA. And since then, we've dedicated ourselves to solving the big problems facing our community and the world. We believe that crazy startup idea isn't so crazy, that families without health care shouldn't have to go it alone. We believe we can be better prepared for the next hurricane, and that our coral reefs can be saved. And that's because, above all else, we believe in you.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have set new standards of success. Our history includes those who are beyond competitors on the field, beyond champions in the classroom, and beyond heroes in their communities. We call them Hall of Famers. The Conference USA Hall of Fame class of 2019. Their legacies live on. To find out more about the inaugural class, visit conferenceusa.com.
Give to Anthony Jones. He
That's
has
it.
crease. Anthony on his way to the end zone. 10, 5, touchdown!
Let's go! Let's go! Yeah!
7
Let's go!
yards.
That's it, baby!
Perhaps the most incredible, exhilarating 37 yards Anthony Jones may ever run. Morgan under center in victory formation against the Miami Hurricanes. He takes the knee. FIU will win.
Let's do it, baby!
An upset, a bull birth, a statement to the city of Miami. FIU football is here to stay. A victory that will resonate for years to come. Perhaps the most meaningful victory in FIU history. As the clock ticks down to make it official, the ice bath for Butch Davis. FIU has defeated Miami in Little Havana. It's final, 30-24, the final score. It's done. FIU has defeated the Miami Hurricanes. You look at Jose here and see confidence of FIU personified. As good as the lemon lime Gatorade tastes, it's served best as a shower out of the cooler. The exclamation mark of sweet victory savored by the FIU family. Little Havana was once again home to a major game on the gridiron, and perhaps a corner has been turned for this program off of A Street. We're here in the GC. The excitement, the pride is palpable on this campus as you take a look. As big a crowd for any show as we've had this season. Look at the pride of the blue and gold here at FIU. They're proud of their team. This program has big a win in moments.
There's one of the
There's the band director. Yeah,
Band director
Barry's
Barry
excited.
Hey, not only did the football team win, but I guarantee you our band won that night
the
too.
band always
The band
wins.
was awesome that night.
The band stays winning, no doubt about that. And I know, Coach, you wanted to reference the game plan and the efforts, the late nights your coaching staff has had all throughout the season, but especially for this game and the game plan they put together.
Well, AJ, obviously, games like that never happen by any one person. No superstar goes out and makes all the plays. The players did a great job. They executed the game plan. The coaches came up with ideas, offense, defense, and special teams, things, and we worked on it for 2 weeks and said, these are the critical, most important things. In special teams, we got to win the hidden yardage, the punts, the kickoffs, the field goals, and we had a 70-yard advantage last night in hidden yardage. And then obviously defensively, we got to create turnovers. We had 3. We could have had 6 interceptions. We got to do a great job of making sure, and red zone, goal line stands, those things. And then offensively, and I mean this sincerely, the offensive line and the tight ends played an unbelievable, huge role in that. Alan Mogridge and Drew Davis, my son, those guys, and Tim Harris with the running backs on blitz pickups to give James Morgan, because Miami led the nation in tackles for loss going into that game. And we had no sacks that night. Offensive line did a good job, and we couldn't make it a one-dimensional game. You couldn't go out there and say, well, we're going to throw for 500 yards and we're going to win this game. Rushing for 156 yards, having the running game complement the passing game, the play action and stuff. The whole game plan, and the assistant coaches did a great job.
Yeah, no sacks, and I think just 1 tackle for loss against one of the best defensive lines in the country. This O-line's been banged up at times this season, and maybe had a rough start to the year. You look at Tulane in Western Kentucky, but you said it's one of the hardest units to get to gel together. They're starting to gel as we move forward to the end of the season. All right, I want to spotlight a couple players, a couple plays, go a little bit more in depth. We're going to start with Shamar Thorne, who leads our team in receptions, receiving yards here in the first quarter. Shamar at 70 yards in the game. He's at the top of the screen. He makes Blades fall to the ground with this move as he gets a first down. And his 2 big catches in the first quarter were on third down. He's shifty. He's elusive. He's a pretty good football player.
Absolutely. Very good football player. And again, like we talked about earlier, AJ, the run after catch, it was unbelievably important. Obviously, here's a 5-yard hitch in a funnel screen. The offensive line gets in front, they block at the point of attack, and he gets a chance to take it into the end zone for a touchdown.
And you know, we said earlier, the tunnel screen against the heavy blitz, yes, it is the perfect play, but he had to make a move on Shaq Quarterman, kind of like a move he made on Al Blades here that made their corner fall to the ground. A pretty impressive display from Shamar Thorne this past weekend. So he's the... I don't want to call him Young Buck. He's been here a couple of years now, but Tony Gator is an established veteran on this team. So let's pull up the tape on Tony Gator, number 16 in the game. He had all of these third down catches, yards after catch. Tony Gator, 6 receptions for 82 yards, dapping it up with the ROTC. What a game for him here on 3rd and 7. Yards after catch for Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the route setting down, knowing where the void area is, made it unbelievably important. And then you can see here a diving catch across the line again for a first down to keep the drives alive, keep their offense on the sidelines. Here again, and this is one of the critical things. Watch this. Watch how he extends the ball over the line. A lot of guys would have gotten tackled 2 yards short. We would have had to punt, give them the ball back. It kept the drive alive.
And 1st and 10 here at the start of the 4th quarter. Again, the extra move that got him about 10 more yards on that play. And here, maybe one of the biggest catches of his career, wide open, nobody around Tony Gator, and you really got the sense something special was happening.
That was really good. I mean, obviously, and again, did you see how clean James was? He's out there, a little play action pass, extended the pocket. Obviously, there's no pressure, hits the wide open Tony Gator, and obviously a great touchdown.
Yeah, by the 2nd or 3rd quarter, I was telling Kenny, it's not just an aberration. James Morgan has had 3+ seconds to throw and a pocket to throw all throughout the game, and he certainly had one in the 4th quarter when he hit Tony Gator in the back of the end zone. When I talked with,
I was just going to say another thing. Obviously, the offensive line, the tight ends, the running backs, the people in the core with the crowd noise, okay? Because we haven't played in that much of a volume of crowd noise. Them doing a good job, the communication down the line, what's the protection, what's the blitz pickups and stuff, and James milking the clock down. There was a lot of times, probably 12 to 15 times, that we didn't snap the ball with maybe 1 second left on the clock. Yeah. Making sure that we had everything done right, and then James obviously executed, so really a good performance by him.
When I talked to you on Friday before the game, we went over what would be important. I think the first thing you said is we got to execute on special teams. We have to be perfect on special teams, and Jose, who was just named Conference Special Teams Player of the Week, he got off to a good start with that 29-yard field goal, and let's now roll the tape on 2 of the biggest field goals of his career. His little brother is committed to Miami, but he's got the upper hand right now. Jose, this is 50 yards to end the first half. Huge for momentum.
Oh, it really, truly was. Every time you put points on the board, it really gains the confidence of guys, and obviously it did a great job for Jose. And here, the 53-yarder, and AJ, in pregame, watching him, I have a gut feeling when I watch him, he was kicking with great confidence. He made a couple from like 55 yards that would have been maybe 60 yards. So you really trusted him and you believed in him.
That 53-yard field goal, the second time he's hit from 53, of course, against Middle Tennessee at the end of the half last year. Both of those 53-yard field goals, school records here at FIU. At the start of the 2nd quarter, Miami had a chance to make it 10-7. If they score a touchdown there, perhaps they start to ease up a little bit. It changes the dynamic of the game. There's no panic mode. Now, let's show a couple of these 4th down stops here. A 4th down stop, a statement against Jaron Williams, the Miami Hurricanes. He had 2 of them. Here's the first one, and it looks like that right side of the line knew what was coming.
Well, obviously, discipline, doing your job and your assignment. Don't let the eye distraction do anything, and then obviously not letting anybody get up on stage, and then obviously here scrambling around on 4th and 1, down inside the plus territory, getting a 4th down stop was another critical play.
Yeah, they not take advantage of the matchup on the outside.
You want to talk about a picture-perfect tackle. Club, wrap up, drive your feet, and knock them back, and don't get run over. I mean, it was just a great play by Sage.
Yeah, Sage said after the game, look, I'm fully healthy now, and with that, I'm going to take a lot more responsibility with elevating the play of our run defense. He had a big number of 4th down, 3rd down stops yesterday. As you can't get enough of watching 4th down stops. And our biggest goal line stand, we've had a number in this era. When you came to FIU, Butch, you talked about how excited you were to create your own stories here. You were tired of telling stories from your days at Carolina or Miami. And so the stories in year 1 here, the goal line stand against Rice in Texas, game 2. The goal line stand against UTSA. These are 4th down goal line stands that are certainly going to add to the stories you can tell.
And also, I mean, this is a legacy that you leave for the future kids that are going to play in the program, that I don't care if the ball's at the 1-foot line. We're not going to let them in.
No.
And just keep fighting, and obviously you love that kind of result.
All right, over at NBC 6, as we head to break, our final break of the show here, Carlos Suarez is a very proud FIU alum. He was chatting with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press yesterday, who is a alum, and they had a nice little interaction here. We're going to show that as we go to break. Cue the tape.
Chuck, you're a big fan. I'm an FIU grad, and we had quite the nice night last night.
Look, I want to say this. I'm happy for FIU. I love the growth of FIU. I'm all happy about that. I have no words about that result. I have no words. I love the university.
Saturday night, the ability to move forward after the bye week in Boca, the fans that made their way to Marlins Park, who all of a sudden were watching James Morgan take a knee in victory formation. Moments to remember in Little Havana. Final segment on Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis after this.
Chuck, you're a big UM fan.
I'm Osasu Osagai, Center for Florida International University from Nigeria. I'm a competitor, so once I started getting a little bit better, I just wanted to be the best version of myself. The energy, the feel, just the communication, connections that we build on and off the court is just a whole different feel to it. I mean, I'm very close with all the coaches. They're very comfortable. The doors are always open. The energy, the liveliness of the coaches and stuff like that, it breathes a lot of energy into us as players. I can attest to the brotherhood of this program just by the fact of how close we are. I'm very close with a lot of the players. Those are no longer my teammates, they're my brothers. I hope to leave my mark as just one that people look up to and see as somebody who worked hard from my early days as a walk-on to earning a scholarship under Coach Ballard. I just want to be remembered and make my name something important to FIU because FIU is definitely important to me.
We're a university founded on the side of an airport, reaching new heights. It's in our DNA. And since then, we've dedicated ourselves to solving the big problems facing our community and the world. We believe that crazy startup idea isn't so crazy, that families without health care shouldn't have to go it alone. We believe we can be better prepared for the next hurricane, and that our coral reefs can be saved. And that's because, above all else, we believe in you.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have set new standards of success. Our history includes those who are beyond competitors on the field, beyond champions in the classroom, and beyond heroes in their communities. We call them Hall of Famers. The Conference USA Hall of Fame class of 2019. Their legacies live on. To find out more about the inaugural class, visit conferenceusa.com. For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
When you win a big game in the city of Miami, you bring out the pots and pans, and you welcome your team home. As glorious a return to campus as this program has ever seen, chants of Captain Morgan and FIU ringing out, and made getting off the bus a little bit more enjoyable, I think.
No doubt about it, absolutely. It was a great welcome back.
The wonderful scene here at FIU as we start to wrap things up at the Graham Center. Yeah, take a look. The players filing in as well. Sage Lewis is in the building. This is pretty awesome stuff. As we welcome you back to the Graham Center and Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis. Final few things here. I want to spotlight one more time Anthony Jones before we wrap things up. Yeah. If you're unfamiliar, we chronicle a little bit on the games. Shot in a drive-by shooting last year, completely random, was within inches of losing his life. Was in the emergency room, lost dozens and dozens of pounds, somehow made his way back to the football field that year, scored 3 touchdowns in the bowl games, and from the ER to the end zone as our players take the stage behind us. One of the greatest stories in college football. Let's cue the tape now of Anthony Jones in the fourth quarter, and one of the most meaningful minutes on the field in his entire career. Here on 1st and 10, getting 14 yards. Your redshirt senior set the tone in the fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he kind of took the offense on his back. I mean, obviously the runs, here's a catch, and again, watch him punish the tacklers and get the extra yards. I mean, that's probably the 6th play during the course of the night.
Watch where contact is here.
Watch this contact and him run over and make that first down to keep the drive alive that let us eventually score the touchdown that kind of iced the victory. And when you talk about it, and I know this, Anthony would say it about the offensive line. They did a great job. The point of attack, there was a gaping hole there. He broke, got to the sidelines. Guys were blocking downfield, and then he got it into the end zone. Obviously, it was a great play by him. And now I'm going to tell you, and all the guys on our team know this about Anthony. I mean, this kid has got a big heart, and he really, truly, he loves this program. He loves his teammates. And last year, I mean, he made one of the most influential phone calls I've ever heard of, calling at halftime of the ODU game when we were kind of really sad about him and things, and he picked everybody up. He says, hey, quit pouting around me. He says, we got to go win this game.
Yep.
And then coming back and playing in a bowl game, I mean, he's just a great legend, a great player.
Yeah, Olin Cushing called his mom, Miss Betty, and said, is Anthony all right? Miss Betty said, Anthony's fine. What are y'all doing? Y'all not all right. Y'all need to pick yourselves up. Exactly. And they came back from a 17-0 deficit. Final thing here, Coach, as we wrap up on Panther Talk Live, we got a pep rally to get to here. Wonderful article, Sports Illustrated this morning. And the quote that stood out to me is about you and your son, Drew, who's obviously on staff here. You said, look, I've had as much fun in the last 3 years here coaching as I've ever had in my entire career. And maybe a chance to make up for a little lost time. Bryn Renner is Drew's roommate.
Yeah.
Bryn left the ballpark early, so you gave Drew a ride home, and it was just like old days, but a little bit different.
From the time he's been young, he's been a part. He's worked in the locker room. He's mopped. He's picked up towels when he was a young kid. He's been involved in a lot of the programs, NFL and college and stuff. And so last night was like a remembrance of when he was like 7, 8, 9 years old, leaving the stadium, getting in the car together, driving home and talking about the night. And it was just an unbelievable special night.
That's as special as it gets, perhaps a little bit more than the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But that was pretty special, too. These guys, big reason why
These
FIU
are the guys that make it all happen right here, and there's probably more here. These guys, trust me, I mean, it's all about them. It's about how well they buy in and they execute. These guys earned that victory, trust me.
Let's get the pep rally started with a little bit of spirit. First, Coach, thanks for the time.
Hey,
congratulations
thank you
on the
very
win.
much. Appreciate it.
Let's start this off in unison, a little spontaneous. Let's get chants of FIU. FIU. Pretty special stuff on the campus of FIU. Pause up, fam. We'll see you next time.